Good morning. My name is Professor Kwan Hong Eng from the University of Malaya, Kuala Lumpur. We are very excited to celebrate the International Day of Medical Physics on the November 7, 2025. Happy International Day of Medical Physics 2025. I'm Professor Eng, celebrating the great event with international colleagues. Why do we choose November 7? It is the birthday of Marie Sklodowska-Curie, the great physicist and also a humanist. Incidentally, it is also the birthday of another great physicist, Chandrasekhar Raman. You know about the Raman scattering and spectroscopy, a Nobel laureate as well. Here, I have no potential conflict of interest to report with regard to this presentation. We need to examine the past in order to shape the future. Marie Curie was active providing humanity service during the First World War. Here she's driving the ambulance, which carried a portable X-ray system, a very primitive one. She set up in the field to X-ray the wounded soldier, and that technology is based on the time-tested Coolidge tube used by Rungan himself. And over 130 years, and we are still using the same technology for X-ray, for mobile X-ray. However, revolution in this X-ray production has come with this one of the developers of this micro X using this solid state X-ray device, which is much more robust, light, and doesn't generate as much heat as the traditional X-ray tube. And that will revolutionize how we perform X-ray imaging. More about that later on. So Rungan skull X-ray, which has revolutionized practice of medicine and still a lot of imagination, X-ray vision, how we could see through even a person's body. Would it be possible? We need to look at the past, since a simple X-ray leading to fluoroscopy, to MRI, to a lot of hybrid imaging modalities, to use of high energy X-ray for radiation therapy. And there are many more work in progress. So from imaging of the human body, go to the organ, to the small animal, like that of mouse, to various functional units like the small intestine, to the cell, to chromosomes, and to the chromatic material. So from meter to millimeter, micrometer, and to nanometer. So you can see how we are imaging, visualizing much smaller unit to the DNA level. The best way to predict the future is to shape it. Peter Drucker, the management guru, once said. So here, we as the medical physics community, along with others, we just don't predict. We get doing it. We just do it to shape the future. So we work along with biomedical engineers, radiographers, data scientists, doctors, and many others to shape the next generation of imaging therapy. And we are like a bridge link the science, the technology, and patient care. And you look at in the past, from Rangan's time to Madame Curie, and so many, we have always been at the frontier of change, but we ensure safety, quality, and innovation. If you look at the changing healthcare landscape, today the population is getting older and the prevalence of chronic diseases and the digital transformation is evident from telemedicine, automation, and the disruptive technologies such as the rise of artificial intelligence. And don't forget the patients and public now, they are all partners together working towards this innovation in technology and the precision medicine keep on advancing. And it was personalized medicine, specific, tailored for each person, from traditional diagnosis, therapy, prognosis, monitoring, which is well established, routine, to that is work in progress, uh, preventive and predictive. And that's what we can do to predict the likelihood one will develop cancer or other form of chronic diseases as well. And we want to see how those emerging technologies will transform healthcare. There are five topics I like to discuss this morning: the artificial intelligence and machine learning, quantum physics and quantum computing, nanotechnology and theranostics, robotics and automation, advanced radiotherapy. And there are many others like radiomics, which I won't discuss this morning. The AI, machine learning has been a buzzword almost every day. If we know how it's automated, faster, more consistent reporting, reduce our repetitive tasks, make our life easier, but also uh, useful in prediction of diseases. So the medical imaging analysis or even to the genomic data analysis and pathology uh, analysis, reporting to the clinical decision support. So all these are getting more mature and they've been deployed in various clinical applications, hospitals to various extent. And we expect more of those to develop in across the whole sphere of medicine. An example, uh, one of the disease is Alzheimer's disease afflicting many older people and younger as well. So how, for example, MR along with AI will help to early detection and monitoring of this so-called the amyloid uh, antibody, and this is one of the advances. And it's good to mention this Gartner hype cycle for risk technology, and one is on AI. That is 2003. You see, when we develop technology, people are excited, a lot of expectation. It go up, 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 lot of publicity, the peak and expectation. But then reality sets in, and it comes down like a valley, disillusionment. and then slightly climbing up, enlightenment become more mature. So AI is no exception. And this just highlight one aspect uh, from a paper in AI in orthopedics. Uh, you look at that is a 2 3 years ago, machine learning, natural language processing, computer vision. They have reached the peak and coming down. So people uh, become disillusioned because they can't perform what had been publicized. But they are slowly climbing up slope of enlightenment, become more mature technology, and we expect like, they will climb up with time. And we face various challenges. One of them is in medical imaging. I've been working on this area. There are a lot of issue with ethical, legal aspect, and also issues about the various stakeholders, the consumer, the administrator, uh, developer, doctors. So the responsibility, along with issues such as data bias, transparency, and data governance. So we still have various challenges uh, facing us before we can fully deploy like imaging in a clinical setting. Next is a quantum physics and quantum computing. The quantum physics has uh, been contributing a lot to the advances like that of laser or imaging and MRI. It is the foundation of all this technology. And even in the future, we talk about the quantum computer, quantum imaging. This is still early, but it's coming. One technology in imaging is photon counting CT, which actually detect the individual X-ray photon, analyze it, and form the image. Much provide better spatial resolution as well as temporal resolution. That's one of the earliest application is proven very useful is in cardiac imaging. Example, the coronary artery calcium. And the B just show this is without contrast like iodine. It's called a virtual non-iodine image. As good as and less noisy, the conventional CT. And also because we can have detecting individual X-ray photon, we know is uh, energy kind of a whole spectra. So we have the traditional like cinematic rendering, various forms, and then you combine from a color map. So it shows the anatomy as well, its function as well. Amazing clarity and detail. And then the D is showing the polar map is a form of visualization as well. So it's proven to be one of the extremely useful early detection of various cardiac diseases as well. And there are many applications. So the quantum physics come in to detect in photons and characterize the property. And this is the concept we borrow from astrophysics. And I've fortunate to meet Dr. Yap recently, and he was speaking on quantum computer. He is a physicist, not a medical physicist. Look at the chip on the right; it's 10 qubits only. Uh, Traditional, our electrical computing is bit. The quantum world is qubit, right? Quantum bits. So a fully functional quantum computer will require thousands, perhaps 10,000 qubits to work. But they started working on this 10 years ago and continue. There's still a long way to go, but it's there. Here I'm holding a punch card 50-year-old technology for mainframe. And here he's holding one of the chips that he was developing uh, in the UTM, working along with Singapore, NTU, and Japan. And the ASEAN College of Medical Physics is organizing from bits to qubits, a journey into quantum computing, 19th of December. So do register and learn quantum computing together. And this is the way how we see eventually we will utilize this with quantum imaging as well. The next is molecular imaging and theranostic. So can we combine or fuse imaging therapy? So there are a lot of so-called hybrid modalities and improve the precision to deliver drugs or even contrast agent. And eventually we want early detection, early predictive, even preventive. And that has given rise to a lot of new cross-disciplinary collaborations. If you look at the preclinical, we need to understand the molecular level from the animal. So we have a lot of micro PET, CT, PET, and also optical techniques have been used, all trying to discover the fundamentals of the disease process. And here comes theranostic, combining therapy, the diagnostic. So thera and gnostic, amazing. So can we? And that is a blooming field in nuclear medicine. For example, in the tumor, we can have a label imaging isotope, a radioisotope with the ligand, which will be have affinity to the tumor cells attached to that, and then we can detect the gamma ray, for example, or positron, and then the same ligand, which is have affinity to the tumor cell, can tag with the therapeutic isotope. One is localized, attached to the cancer cell. You give out alpha, beta to destroy the cancer cells, damage the DNA. And one very promising is that of prostate cancer, which afflicts a lot of men today. Quite scary. So you have this gallium-68 positron emitter, with PSMA, which is uh, prostate surface membrane antigens. So we can label with this gallium-68 for PET imaging. It's been very successful and very accurate uh, for prostate cancer, and even for bone scan, metastasis is superior to that of the traditional technetium MDP, which we've been using for many years. Higher sensitivity, higher specificity, using this gallium-68 PSMA PET scan is well proven. But the question arises, can it be the standard of care? Can we have it a routine? But the cost is a constraint. So as we talk about technology, not only for technology, but think of the social economic part. Is high cost good? The patients afford it. So that is the different dimension we too have to consider. So we combine the diagnostic and the targeted therapy. Go back to the prostate cancer is a good example. So gallium, you mentioned, would be excellent. Is positron emitter with PET to localize, and we can also label this PSMA with lutetium 17, which is a beta emitter for therapy. So the radiation will be able to damage the DNA. So we have the PSMA labeled with gallium for the imaging for PET, and also lutetium for therapy. And by the way, lutetium also give out gamma ray. So let's say we use lutetium for therapy, but we also can detect the gamma ray, so know where it has been localized, where the target. Right? So it's amazing the dual function of it. So that has been approved 2022 in the USA. Again, it is very high cost, but it is promising. We can produce this kind of radioisotopes much more cheaper for the benefit of more people. So this is a good example of theranostic, and there are many developments, very exciting, new therapeutic and diagnostic agents, the theranostic being developed. The next topic is robotics and automation in healthcare. And one good example is elderly care and also in surgery. We heard of like the Da Vinci in surgery and many forms of surgery, and also automation will free the doctor for a different task. In Japan, they have many years of experience in automating the elderly care, and they've used very successfully all kinds of robot supporting the patient, transporting them, and even providing emotional support, right, for those lonely uh, older persons. And at the Unisima Mega Center, we too we have a lot of experience in robotic in general surgery, but started recently the robotic breast surgery. Uh, the surgeons have been trained and started to operate using robots. And we do have the intercontinental robotic prostate surgery. Uh, Look at this, a surgeon in Beijing remotely control the robot instrument in Rome. And this is the cutting edge robotic system, high speed internet. And the surgery was performed with real time precision very successfully. So it offer a lot of benefits to patients at large. And we look back, right, the today the imaging reporting still very much human with the help of AI in the diagnosis. Will the future be the intelligent robots taking over? And even this scenario may not be too far. Instead of the radiographers, humanoid robots position the patient, expose the patient, and interpret it. It's all done automatically, right? And of course, we still need the human to be overall in charge. So that will be the scenario of the future. The next topic is on advanced radiotherapy, includes the hot topic on proton therapy, real-time image-guided radiotherapy, adaptive plans responding to patient anatomy during the course of treatment, AI-driven planning, and quality assurance. Visited the proton centers in Bangkok several times. Amazing piece of medical equipment. What makes proton therapy feasible is this bragg peak. It is a very short peak. There is a dose fought off after the peak. This enables it to deliver the high tumor dose with much better normal tissue sparing. And it has been increasingly used for pediatric patients, head and neck cases, and central nervous system cases as well, with minimum side effects. Recently, I have the chance to visit the Bragg House in Adelaide during the World Congress, and this is the home of Bragg, who discovered this Bragg Peak. And in this graph, you can see the red curve is the Bragg Peak. It delivers the dose with certain depth, and the blue is a modified, we flatten the peak, so it covers a finite volume of the target. And comparing with the green, which is the traditional photon beam, you notice that all have side effects on the exit from the target. The proton therapy technology is very sophisticated, require cyclotron and lots of beam forming transport facilities. And these are just some pictures behind the scenes. Technology advances to the extent we have smaller proton system, compact, less installation costs. And for example, on the top right, this is an upright proton therapy system. And instead of using cyclotron, you can use a laser accelerated proton beam. So they have various advances. And there's a flash proton therapy. Essentially, it delivers very high dose within a couple of milliseconds. So it's ultra high dose rate, like 40 gray per second. So this also has potential to spare normal tissues while maintaining the conformity to the tumor. And there's a lot of interesting research uh, being carried out on this flash proton therapy technique. MR or PET image guidance in therapy is important. We want the real-time imaging, and particularly those organs which move during the treatment. So it also will allow the adaptive planning. For example, this is the case of esophageal tumor. It tracks the movement of the tumor. It's a real-time MR image guidance. So, and it adapts to the tumor as it moves. So it deliver more precise dose to the target. And PET 2 has been also used. For example, the tumor volume is shrink during the course of treatment. So the PET guided therapy enables to generate a new plan for the next flexion to adapt to the shrunken target. Right, let's move on to the final part, ethical and human dimensions. I'd like to quote, technology without humanity is power without direction. So we don't develop technology for the sake of technology. We need to consider the human dimension aspect. We want to enhance our well-being, not to dehumanize healthcare. We also act as ethical guardians. We want to ensure the scientific advancement aligns with our human values. We care for the well-being of the patients. So we don't just ask, can we do this? But should we do that? or who benefits from the technology. So ethical innovation requires accessibility, affordability, and fairness, the equity in technology deployment. The last part I'd like to share with you is something very exciting, a revolution in X-ray technology. The use of carbon nanotube-based X-ray technology, and this is possible with this so-called the nano electronic X-ray. For 100 over years, we generate X-ray with the same Coolidge tube from Rungen's time. It's a vacuum tube. We heat up the filament, terminal electrons, accelerate to target. Uh, for a while, the physicists have developed this cold electronic cathode. It's a field emission method to pull up the electrons from the metallic surface. And same thing, high voltage accelerate to the target and produce the electron. Now, in this carbon nanotube device, right, or the next technology, uh, is minimum heating, and the scattered electron within is not wasted. So it is very efficient way of producing X-ray. It is electrical device, very robust and also very lightweight. You see here, I'm just holding one, and with the inventor, the chief scientific officer of this technology, Dr. Brian Gonzalez, recently is, and this will open up lots of avenues. Uh, for example, conventional CT is bulky. You have rotating X-ray, heavy X-ray tubes, high power, and detectors. So with this miniaturized X-ray device, lightweight and robust, you can make a full body CT, smaller, less space, uh, and even just a smaller for just a head CT, even the head CT for ambulance, which I show you now. Now, stroke is a common problem, and the ability to diagnose as early as possible, even on the site. This ambulance brings in the patient on the stretcher, and then they deploy the head CT, right, with a detector, which is moving, and the X-ray device moving along with that. So imaging can be done on site, right? Without delay or transport to hospital. And a diagnosis could be made with modern internet technology. So that is amazing, bringing this portable stroke CT scanning on site, the point of care. So that will really help to save a lot of life. Preparing the next decade and beyond, our role will be to serve as translators between science and medicine, a bridge between the two, our guardians of safety, and that is important to ensure patient safety, and be innovators and educators as well. And clinical methods moving towards personalized medicine. And you have seen earlier, we talk about diagnosis, therapy, prognosis, monitoring, and now prevention and prediction. And this is where AI comes in and we make greater advancement. So we will want to embrace lifelong learning, interdisciplinary collaboration. We want to lead with values, not just knowledge, and continue to dream, and not only that, but to act, to innovate. And remember, in the 60s, you have this Jackson's the cartoon, glimpse of the future on spacecraft, the robots doing homework, teaching them cooking, and even they portray this teleconsultation as well. And we have this telemedicine. Amazing. In the 60s, they could dream of the future, and it's happening today. And even the Star Trek, we have this tricorder. a device that can detect and sense uh, various form of diseases or even toxic environment. Uh, Tiny gadgets. It is a science fiction, but the dream of the medical tricorder is uh, this handheld diagnostic device. It is possible, right? And more miniaturized medical devices have been developed, and this reported in the Economist. So that I end with this quote, the mantra: to achieve more, we should imagine together and change. So let us make a difference. Thank you.